Salutations people and welcome back to Sherlock Holmes with Jack the Ripper. I'm playing this video game again because I love it so much. It's my favorite. I like this video game. Anyway, let's talk about Sherlock Holmes pipes. So, in the books written by Arthur Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes always had three pipes. He had a long cherry wood one, which he would smoke when he was feeling a little angry. He had a short black clay pipe, which was like a hand-me-down, or at least theorized to be. It was one he didn't take much care of. And then he had like oh fuck, I forgot what his third pipe was. But if you look here, there's three pipes in there. And you'll notice that two of them don't have a curve. So the cherrywood pipe was the one that had the curve in the book. So that's probably this one right here. The black clay pipe's probably that one still in there. And this here is his third pipe, which I forgot the specifics on. But it was the one that he used the most. Anyway, we're supposed to find mannequins, I think. Don't ask why Watson has mannequins. Take that. Do I need to take anything from here? Do I need to take you? No. Okay.
We shall place our mannequins here, Watson.
Alright, so that's where we'll put on mannequins. Let's get clothes for them. Maybe there's more mannequins in here. Oh. I found one. Okay. I feel like we're gonna get the most from inside this room.
This will come in handy.
It's the first fucking thing you've had to say about this? Nothing in there. Got quite a few hats. We ready to roll? Wait, hold on. Okay, I thought that gun was a fourth pipe. An Easter egg. Very good.
So, as for one of the murders, we have no witnesses whatsoever.
There you
as
are.
for the three other, we have at least one
Hello there,
person
Carrie
who claims
Cheryl.
to have seen the victims talking to a man a few minutes before their death. Do you remember whom these would be, Watson?
Okay, so let me... Do I have a bunch? Yeah, I got a bunch of hats, and I got the wigs, and I got the suits. So... Inventory, dialogues. You. Use as proof. Meter square, yep. Inventory. It's going to be in documents. Let me see here if I can. Okay. That's gonna be his proof. So he's gonna be 40. Alrighty. And oh, what was the last one? Uh, is it this one? There we go.
Bravo, Watson. There are our 3 witnesses.
Alright, so meter square. Okay. Alrighty. Five, 7, 30 years old.
There is an error, Watson. Let's reread Abraham's testimony. There is an error, Watson.
Wait, what? There's no error there. Alrighty. Oh shit, it doesn't go to the place that we had it. Okay. 5'7", light complexion, fair mustache. Alright, so Lee Stark's, yeah, it was gray cap, right?
There is an error, Watson. Let's reread Abraham's testimony.
Okay,
There
so
is
I'm
an error,
assuming.
Watson. Let's reread Abraham's testimony.
Alright, so that's proper height and that's the proper age. So he was wearing a loose dark jacket, a gray cap, and a red scarf. Light complexion and a fair mustache. Yeah.
There is an error, Watson.
What the fuck? You have to scroll so much to see it. Oh, you know what it is? Oh, because the first guy described him as like 5'3".
Indeed, Watson, that's the right size for Abraham's mannequin. The account given by Mr. Solomonich's friend is incorrect in at least 1 point. The first Joseph said that the man was at least
Yep.
5'7" tall. The second Joseph said he was 3 inches taller than the victim, whom we know was 5 feet tall, which would suggest a height of 5'3". Don't forget that it was this second Joseph who attracted his friend's attention towards the couple on the other side of the road. We can assume he got a very good look at them.
Do I need... What's this? Maybe I need a different thing for him.
Excellent. Now,
Oh,
on to
shit.
the next
Okay.
step.
Alright, testimony of E. Long. A little tall. Approximately 5 feet 3 inches.
As for young P.C. Smith's account, he must have been mistaken about this person's real height. It is only an inch or two after all, and we can attribute the same height as the other two.
Okay. Clothing, brown deerstalker hat. So maybe that and that. Dark hair and mustache.
Perfect, Watson.
Cool. He's wearing a short black outfit, small felt hat. So 5'8", 26. Bam. Bam. So dark brown.
As for young P.C. Smith's account, he must have been mistaken about this person's real height. It is only an inch or two after all, and we can attribute the same height as the other two. Bravo, Watson.
Okay.
Our mannequins have been recreated based on the correct accounts. Now, Watson, let's see in what ways these statements differ and how the witnesses could have been mistaken. Let's look at these wigs and moustaches. Let's start by taking the first Joseph's testimony, who saw the man head-on in a well-lit spot and in which he noted fair hair. Now, let's consider the same person, but in the lighting and angle of the other two witnesses, in the darkness of night, with poor artificial lighting from above. Put out the light, Watson.
Yes, sir. Oh. Oh, there we go.
Thus, poor lighting and a backlit subject can affect our perception of shades and colours. The wigs from Abraham's mannequin took on the same colour as the other two. The three testimonies, therefore, don't contradict one another, and we can apply the same facial hair to all three mannequins. Turn on the light, Watson.
Alrighty, so you and you.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Well done, Watson. With regards to the murderer's hair, the three witnesses should agree on Abraham's testimony. As Joseph is the only one who saw our man in full light, his hair must therefore be fair. You see, Watson, it is hard to draw objective conclusions when one is an eyewitness to an event. This leads us to reconsider the various statements regarding the supposed age of the man. Even if you are face to face with someone in full light and for a period of several hours, to what extent can you determine their exact age? And even more so if you observe them for only a few seconds and or from behind. We must allow some flexibility when considering our witnesses' statements, but always scientific flexibility.
Okay. So taller. What the fuck does this mean?
For Smith's mannequin, let's allow a margin of 7 to 10 years. He only saw the man from afar in the obscurity. Smith's mannequin, a margin of 7 to 10 years.
Oh, okay. Is that what?
You would be wise to treat this witness account with a degree of skepticism. For Long's mannequin, the margin of error is from 7 to 10 years. Don't forget that, according to Abraham, the man was seen face on from a few feet away by the first Joseph, who shouldn't be out by more than a few years. For Abraham's mannequin, we should allow a margin of 3 to 5 years.
Oh shit, okay.
There we are. Magnificent.
Okay. Okay.
There we are. Magnificent.
Oh, wait, shit. Okay, I see what's fucking... I see what's happening here. Okay. Oh, apparently I don't. Apparently, I do not. Oh, apparently I do. Okay.
Excellent. Now, on to the next step.
Yes, I have, Holmes.
Now that we have fully considered the witness accounts, let's see to what extent they agree. If we apply the range of error for each of our dummies, we can deduce the age of our murderer as precisely as possible.
Hmm. I'm gonna go for somewhere like mid-30s. Let's knock it down.
Perfect,
Oh,
Watson.
okay.
Within a margin of 1 year, Watson, the age of our murderer is 33 years.
But the man described by Smith was dressed respectably, whereas the other two were poorly dressed.
Indeed, but Whitechapel's respectively could quite easily describe the Sunday bests that all lower-class men own. Now, let's place ourselves in the shoes of Liz Stride's killer. He has just slain his victim and sees Louis Diemschutz discover her body. Our killer is at great risk if he stays in the area. He therefore gets away from this spot. But he wants to kill again. However, he might have been spotted in the area before having committed the murder by a constable on his round, perhaps, who managed to get his description. What do you think the killer will do?
What will Jack the Ripper do after committing the first murder in Dutfield's yard and before committing the second?
No.
No.
No, Watson. No, Watson. No, that's not it.
Go back home or
Yep.
to a safe location, change his clothes and leave again in search of another victim.
I don't
It's
think...
the only possible explanation, Watson. The man returned to the safety of his lodgings and then decided to go out again with new clothes and repeat his sinister nocturnal work. That's how the discrepancies between the witnesses with regards to clothing can be explained.
What a cold-blooded animal.
And what determination! Powerful motives are pushing this man. Thus, we can conclude that the respectable man with the package may very well have been seen by the two Josephs.
Even if it is just a mannequin, it's giving me goosebumps. But have we really made any progress, Holmes? I mean, there must be thousands of men in Whitechapel who match this description, wouldn't you say?
You're right, Watson. We have worked on who, now let's work on where. We need a map of Whitechapel, and please also find me a pencil, 2 compasses, one of which can draw ellipses.
Okay. See, I think the reason he wanted to kill someone after he killed Liz Stride is because he was interrupted during that one, and he didn't have the satisfaction of the full kill. Oh, okay.
We'll need a map, Watson.
What got a map? Here. Okay. Um... There we
First of all,
go.
let's place our 4 murders on this map, as well as the spot where the graffito appeared, and the piece of apron was dropped.
Annie Chapman. Bucks Row. Where the fuck's Bucks Row at? Okay, there we go. Lestrade was in Dutefield's Yard. Polly Nichols was in Hanbury Street. Catherine Eddowes was in Meters Square. And the graffiti was in Goulston. What is this? Okay, did I do it right? Polly Nichols and Chapman. Oh wait, no, I got these two wrong.
Perfect, Watson. Let's connect each crime scene to the one out of the others that is the furthest. You see, Watson, the murders aren't grouped together, but seem to be spread out like cardinal points around a central zone. The killer obviously wanted to avoid returning to the previous scenes of his crimes, assuming that they would be more closely watched, or that he could be recognized.
So the killer lives at the centre of this cross?
In the vicinity, most certainly, but how near? We cannot afford to get it wrong. If you concentrate, Watson, you will notice that the murders are roughly equidistant from the intersection point of the diagonals. Let's focus on the night of the double murder. Remember, Watson, it took us 20 minutes to get from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square. Let's draw a line from one to the other. Perfect. We didn't make the trip as the crow flies, but that would not harm our estimate. Let's suppose the killer left Dutfield's Yard at 1 a.m. and arrived in Mitre Square at 1:35 a.m. when he was seen by the two Josephs. If he took 5 minutes to change his clothes, that leaves a range of 10 minutes to determine where this man's lodgings are. We must determine the area in which one can go from Dutfield's Yard to Mitre Square in less than half an hour. To do this, let's draw an ellipsis. The length between Dutfield's Yard and Mitre Square corresponds to 20 minutes. By adding half, we get a distance of 30 minutes. By taking the two right segments, each starting from the two murder scenes, and which the sum of the lengths makes 30 minutes, we get our ellipses.
Wait, what? No, no, okay. Is that right? We're trying to connect these two, right? No. What do we use you for? Surely. Um. Uh, how? How is that not right? Oh, does this thing have to be so fucking precise? Uh, let's. Um. Um. Uh. uh, I. I. What? It's gotta be here, right?
There we are, Watson. Our
What?
killer lives in this area.
It's still rather a vast area, Holmes.
Yes, indeed. And our goal is to reduce this area as much as we can. We must consider the fact that the murder at Mitre Square was committed under a certain amount of pressure, given that the killer knew he was wanted for the acts he committed not long before. We can assume that he had to do it in a safe zone, that is, an area not far from where he lives. This is especially true of an act such as the graffiti he carried out after 2 murders. Let's trace a circle around this point, with the distance separating it from Mitre Square as the radius. This will enable us to determine our killer's safe zone.
What did he want me to do? Wait.
Our killer must
Okay.
surely live inside this circle. Now, let's intersect it with the ellipsis that we previously determined.
What do you mean, intercept it with ellipses that we previously? What, can I just... Oh, okay.
There we are, Watson, the Aldgate district.
Shouldn't we inform the police so that they can concentrate their efforts on this area of Whitechapel?
It is probably already crawling with inspectors, Watson, and I doubt that they would take us seriously, even if they were willing to listen to what we had to say. Let's focus instead on understanding the killer's modus operandi. We know our murderer preys on prostitutes who are penniless, weak, sick, or alcoholic. that he distracts them the moment before killing them, and that he left an anonymous message inciting anti-Semitic hatred at the entrance of a building occupied by Jews. How would you describe this man?
What a coward.
Indeed, he is a person of great cowardice. Let's look at his murders, and in particular the depredations on the corpses, putting aside that of Liz Stride, because on that occasion his work was left unfinished. If we recall the observations made on the victims and the parts that were mutilated or damaged on each of the bodies, without forgetting the fact that he also removed one or more organs, we can ascertain that our killer evolves during the course of the murders, cowardly and still evolving. And yet, look at the location of our first murder, that of Polly Nichols in Bucks Row. It is the most distant from the area our killer would appear to live. Perhaps this murder was preceded by another within the killer's area. I believe a cowardly killer would commit his first murder in an area close to his home in order to find refuge as quickly as possible on carrying out the act.
Holmes, an idea just occurred to me that fills me with dread. This evolution of which you speak.
He will pursue his next victim as long as the conditions permit him to continue killing Watson.
But how could one go even further in this horror? Look at what he did to that woman, Catherine Eddowes.
In order to avoid having to answer that question, we must act with haste and planning. Watson, I suggest you inform yourself on the mutilations sustained by the victims. We played with the idea that this could be an act of vengeance against prostitutes. If the mutilations correspond to areas affected by a specific pathology, perhaps the killer wanted to give an eye for an eye for an affliction he felt the prostitutes he knew were responsible for.
And this trail leading to Dr. Tumblety Holmes?
I also have a few things to look into in the meantime. I still have a primary witness to track down, not to mention old trails I've yet to pursue. See you soon, Watson. When we first spoke about the Bucks Row murder with Watson, he was reading a newspaper, The Star, dated September 1st, 1888, I believe, which mentioned similar murders in the preceding months. I have no chance of finding the police reports, but perhaps I could find some information at the Central News Agency. I must go there at once. Afterwards, I'll go back to see Abraham, the owner of the pet shop in Whitechapel. The second Joseph's statement would lead me to believe that he may know the man spotted on the corner of Church Passage that night. If that's the case, I must find this witness so I can question him.
Okay. So, going to the Central... Can I walk? Central News Agency.
Ah, Bulling is there. It won't hurt just this once. Hello, Mr. Bulling. So, did your colleague tell you about the tip?
What tip?
Ah, I see. I gave him an explosive tip and he went without you? Oh, that's not very sporting on his part. No doubt he took all of the credit for his discovery.
You're winding me up, eh?
I must show Bulling something to make him believe me.
Do I still have that?
What do you want?
I'm not winding you up. The proof is that he gave me this advance on the debt.
That traitor! He owes me if I find him.
Before I leave, can you do me a favor?
Heck, tell me.
I'm looking for some reliable info on the murders committed in Whitechapel in the months before Polly Nichols' attack.
Reliable? Ha! You really think you'll find that here? Fine. I'll be honest with you. We have folders that group the dispatches from the current year into categories. In the police law category, you'll find the transcripts from the trials and investigations that we sell to the newspapers that ask us.
Perfect.
Sadly, I am out of time. I'll leave you to solve it, eh? You're the detective, aren't you?
Oh, shit. Okay. So, I've got to sort some fucking filing, is
The
that right?
dossiers are full of papers in dated envelopes. I can't open them. That would be too obvious. How can I tell which compartment to look in? No categories are indicated. An envelope is torn. I can tell that this dispatch contains economic information.
Economy.
This compartment was repaired recently. An envelope is torn. An envelope
Oh.
is torn.
Okay, so let's go into dialogues. Okay, let's look for more. Oh. Dear Fernand, I'm confirming my presence Friday evening at this club. I will be with pleasure. It will be with pleasure because I must get my mind off things and risk falling into black depression. Just imagine the new lady still has the favors of that of Janet, but she'll end up forgetting him and giving me into me because I am not lacking in ideas to get rid of her suitors. Yesterday I randomly placed a few inventions in science with politics dispatches. After all, they are always harebrained items. Given that the compartments are one on top of the other, it could have easily passed as one of the new lad's errors. And as anticipated, he was called in by the boss. As soon as I have the chance, I will show him how, like in the news, everything is in balance. He looks like a half-wit. He could easily confuse the politics of the society section on his right. Okay, so and this latter with economy, which is its neighbor. Okay, so society is on the right of politics, which is either up or down from inventions in science. Okay, so it's gotta be society, politics, inventions in sciences, right? Okay, cool. I'm thinking like Sherlock Holmes. Repair the wood of the news and brief compartment. News and brief and other oddities. There we go. Oh, fuck you. As the agency receives numerous dispatches, the filing system that you made appears to be too small, particularly for the world and society sections, which cover too much area and overflow into boxes below. Police, law, and culture, respectively. Would you be able to furnish a device in order to keep only one filing cabinet? So, wait, hold on, what do you... The world and society. Okay, so culture's gotta be here, and so police and law and world is either here or it's here. Okay. Fucking cursive, dude. Fucking cursive. What an archaic form of handwriting. To improve the dispatch filing, propose major info up high except news and brief. Minor info down low except police law. Thus, in future, propose also to invert news and brief, which is, for the moment, up high, and police law, which is actually down low. Furthermore, the weather section is almost always empty. Put it with news and... Okay, so this is weather. And news, yeah. News in brief and oddities is up high, and police and law is down low. Okay. And he wants that to change, but that hasn't changed yet. My dear George, your little brother has some misfortune. My first week of work was very grueling. First, I was given a spot far from the stove, and I'm very cold in the morning. Next, I have to sort through the dispatches, the most tedious and boring work imaginable. Once the work is done, I must take each envelope to the journalist in question, who won't even deign to look at me. Finally, at the end of my third day, the boss called me to his office to give me a sermon. It seems that I had mixed up the dispatches. I was so worn out that could only protest half-heartedly. He gave me a second chance, so now I'm in a sticky situation. The only hopeful note comes from my colleague, Miss Filthin, a charming young woman who is the only one to give me a smile. She helps me as much as she can and tries to prompt me regarding which compartment I should put my dispatches, because everyone here knows the order of the sections, but no one has bothered to tell me. The lady has so much compassion and slides me notes such as, politics and society are on the side. Sports is underneath economy. Sports is underneath economy. Okay, wait. Politics and society are on the side. Personalities is at the end of the row. Cool.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police and judicial cases. Now, I need to open them discreetly. I must try to unglue the openings.
Okay, so I need to unglue this.
These envelopes contain dispatches of police. I need something. I need something. I need something.
The fuck do I need?
I need something.
I don't know how a teapot works into all this, Mr. Holmes.
Closed.
Closed. It's quite concerning. But that's
Water.
what he fucking picked up. Okay.
There, that will provide me with steam. These envelopes contain dispatch. Open, and it looks like I'm in luck. This envelope contains precious information.
Okay. Testimony in the Smith affair. Day of inquest. Saturday, April the 7th, 1888. Mr. Wynne E. Baxter, the East Middlesex coroner, held an inquiry on Saturday, the 7th of April, at the London hospital respecting the death of Emma Elizabeth Smith, aged 45, a widow, lately living at 18 George Street, Spitalfields, who, it was alleged, had been murdered. Chief Inspector West of the H Division of Police attended for the commissions of police. Mrs. Mary Russell, deputy keeper of a common lodging house, stated that she had known the deceased for about 2 years. On the evening of Bank Holiday, the 2nd of April, she left home at 7 o'clock, and returned about 4 or 5 the next morning in a dreadful state. Her face and head were much injured, one of her ears being nearly torn off. She told the witness she had been set upon and robbed of all her money. Witness took her to the hospital, and when passing along Osborne Street, the deceased pointed out the spot where she was assaulted. She said there were 3 men, but she could not describe them. Mr. George Haslip, house surgeon, stated that when the deceased was admitted to the hospital, she had been drinking, but was not intoxicated. She was bleeding from the head and the ear, and had other injuries of a revolting nature. Witness found that she was suffering from rupture of the peritoneum, which had been perforated by some blunt instrument used with great force. So she was drunk and saw 3 people. That could easily have been 1 person. The deceased told him that at 1:30 that morning she was passing near Whitechapel Church when she noticed some men coming towards her. She crossed the road to avoid them, but they followed, assaulted her, took all the money she had, and then committed the outrage. She was unable to say what kind of instrument was used, nor could she describe her assailants, except that she said that one was a youth of 19. Death ensued on Wednesday morning, the 4th of April, through peritonitis set up by the injuries. Margaret Hayes, living at the same address as the deceased, deposed to seeing Mrs. Smith in company with a man at the corner of Farrant Street and Burdett Road. The man was dressed in a dark suit and wore a white silk handkerchief round his neck. He was of medium height, but witness did not think she could identify him. Chief Inspector West, H Division, stated that he had no official information on the subject and was only aware of the case through the daily papers. He had questioned the constables on the beat, but none of them appeared to know anything about the matter. The coroner said that from the medical evidence, which must be true, it was clear that the woman had been barbarously murdered. It was impossible to imagine a more brutal and dastardly assault, and he thought the ends of justice would be better met by the jury recording the verdict at once than adjourning to some future date in the hope of having more evidence brought before them. The jury returned a verdict of willful murder against some person or persons unknown. The police are making every possible inquiry into the case, but up to yesterday, the 8th of April, had not any clue to the persons who committed the outrage. Oh my god. Okay.
The information excludes the murder of the first woman, Miss Smith. Jack the Ripper can't be the author of that crime. On the other hand, there are enough similarities to suggest he may be the killer of Martha Tabram.
Yeah, I need to save.
Go to the pet shop.
I need to save the game real quick before reading through that. Alrighty. Okay, cool. Last day of inquest, Thursday, August 23rd, 1888. Yesterday afternoon, the 23rd of August, Mr. George Collier, the Deputy Coroner for Southeast Middlesex, resumed the inquiry at the Working Lads Institute, Whitechapel, into the circumstances attending the death of Martha Turner, a tavern hawker lately living at 4 Star Place, Star Street, Commercial Road, East. It was discovered early in the morning of Tuesday, the 7th inst. Lying dead on the first floor landing of the model dwellings known as George Yard Buildings, Commercial Street, Spitalfields. One found the woman presented a shocking appearance, there being 39 stab wounds on the body, some of them apparently having been inflicted with a bayonet. Okay, soldier man. Alfred George Crow, cab driver, 35, George Yard Buildings, deposed that he had got home at 3:30 on Tuesday morning. As he was passing by the first floor landing, he saw a body lying on the ground. He took no notice, as he was accustomed to seeing people lying about there. He did not then know whether the person was alive or dead. He got up at 9:30, and when he went down the staircase, the body was not there. Witness heard no noise while he was in bed. Police Constable Thomas Barrett, 226H, said that the last witness called his attention to the body of the deceased. He sent for the doctor, who pronounced life extinct. Dr. T.R. Killeen, of 68 Brick Lane, said that he was called out of the deceased and found her dead. She had 39 stab wounds on the body. She had been dead some 3 hours. Her age was about 36, and the body was very well nourished. Witness had since made a post-mortem examination of the body. The left lung was penetrated in 5 places, and the right lung was penetrated in 2 places. The heart was penetrated in 1 place, and that would be sufficient enough to cause death. Liver was penetrated in 5 places, the spleen was penetrated in 6 places. The witness did not think all the wounds were inflicted with the same instrument. The wounds generally might have been inflicted by a knife, but such an instrument could not have inflicted one of the wounds, which went through the chest bone. His opinion was that one of the wounds was inflicted by some kind of dagger, and that all the others were caused during life. Henry Samuel Tabram, 6, River Terrace, East Greenwich, husband of the deceased woman, said he last saw her alive about 18 months ago in the Whitechapel Road. Oh my god, okay. They had been separated for 13 years owing to her drinking habits. She obtained a warrant against him. For some part of the time, witness allowed her 12s a week, but in consequence of her annoyance, she had stopped this allowance 10 years ago, since which time he'd made it to half a crown a week, and he found she was living with a man. He and returned to her carpenter staying at the workingman's home, Commercial Street, Spitalfields. Stated that he'd been living with a woman Tabram as his wife for about 9 years. Okay, I don't think I actually... If I need to read that later, then I'll go ahead and do so, but we need to move this along.
I must go to the pet shop. Closed until further notice. Abraham isn't there. No luck.
Hey, it's our beep beep friend.
Beep beep.
Good evening.
Oh, good evening, sir.
Do you know why Mr. Solomonovich's shop is closed?
No, I don't. Perhaps his cousin, the cobbler, knows. But I believe the police came to take his animals. I think that might have something to do with it.
When was this?
During the day. The kids you were with the other day were there, they told me. They just came by to ask for some cat's meat. They didn't have any money, but I gave them some anyway. Ah,
Is something wrong?
it's just that there was a little girl with them, the same age as mine. My little girl who went away with her mother, with the angels into the sky.
Dr. Watson told me about your loss. Please accept my condolences. Would you like to talk about it? How did it happen?
The illness, sir. My poor little girl was in agony, and her face and body were ravaged by the disease.
Her face?
Yes, she looked like a ghost.
What illness was it?
Dr. Gibbons tried to explain when I took my little girl to see him, but I didn't understand. I'm sure that he was trying to insinuate it was my fault. I'm sorry, but I don't want to talk about it anymore.
I understand. Farewell. Let's go and see Dr. Gibbons.
That's interesting.
Hello, Doctor. Do you remember me? I'm Sherlock Holmes, Dr. Watson's friend.
Oh, yes. Excuse the mess, but I am doing a bit of tidying.
I have come to see you about a Mr. Hardyman, a cat food seller by trade who recently lost his daughter and wife.
Yes, I know him. A tragic story.
Actually, I was hoping you could tell me about the disease that took his daughter, a disease that would have attacked her face.
Well, to keep it short, we are speaking of syphilis, Mr. Holmes. You must certainly know that it is transmitted through intimate connections, and that the vast prostitute population here contributes to its inevitable progression. It destroys individuals by spreading through the body slowly. The most obvious symptoms can be found in the genitalia and on the face in the form of pustules or lesions. Sometimes this illness can destroy whole families. The father catches it from a prostitute, he transmits it to his wife, who in her turn passes it to the kids which she bears or nurses. These cases are numerous in the vicinity.
I see.
Certain children, and this is the case of the little girl whom I won't name, suffer from an emaciation of the face which will, apart from predicting an imminent death, bring infamy upon the family.
Emaciation of the face?
Yes, what we sometimes call the pox. I will give you a photograph. One cannot be mistaken on the origin of such a face. The eyes seem to be void of lids, the nose is inexistent as if it was cut off, and the cheeks are chiselled as if cut with a knife. This loss of facial matter, this emaciation, is in this area often the gift from a father to his children.
Can I keep this photograph?
I should destroy it, but if it can remind you that one must sometimes think twice before giving in to physical attraction.
I always seem to find myself alone in such cases. Thank you, Doctor.
Ooh, oof, oof.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
So that might give him a reason to hate prostitutes, the killer. Because maybe his wife and daughter were also taken. Or something like that.
Hello, Mr. Solomonovich.
Ah, Mr. Holmes. How are things with you?
I heard your cousin Abraham had a problem with his shop. What happened?
Ah, if I didn't know you well, I would tell you that it's Jewish business that doesn't concern anyone but the Jews. But as you have a little bit to do with it, you have the right to know what is going on.
Ah, would I have something to do with it?
Someone had seen Abraham telling you something and making big gestures near the Imperial Club. A vicious rumor quickly spread, and it has caused him great injustice. A slanderous denunciation attracted the authorities' attention to my cousin's shop. Abraham must be in the process of answering their questions.
I did, indeed, speak with your cousin the other night. I'm shocked at the consequences of this discussion.
As I was saying, it's the story of the Jews. In the face of adversity, we are united, but amongst ourselves, it's like anywhere else. As soon as our people take a dislike to someone, for right or wrong, we can be without pity and quite cruel.
This is all very worrying. Your cousin knows one, or rather two, of the men who were at the Imperial Club on the night of the Mitre Square murder. One of the two, a butcher in Aldgate named Joseph, is probably withholding information of the utmost importance. I must find this man. Perhaps you can help me.
But there are dozens of Jewish butchers around Aldgate, half of which must be called Joseph. And you know, Mr. Holmes, we Jews prefer to remain in the background of this murderer business, this Jack the Ripper thing. All of London is pointing their fingers at us saying, it's a Jew who disemboweled these women. Our community is in great peril, you know. There was the business with Lipski and Leather Apron. I will see what I can do, but I don't promise anything.
I'd be extremely grateful to you.
That sucks, man.
Very well. We may meet again, Mr. Solomonovich.
You are most welcome, Mr. Holmes.
This game's just fucking depressing,
I've
dude.
paced up and down Whitechapel enough. I should return to Baker Street in order to reflect on the new facts that I have discovered.
Okay, I don't need... Fucking, I really don't want to see that every time I go to documents.
Hello, Holmes.
Good day, Watson.
Listen, Holmes, I know I should have got here sooner to give you a report on my research, but this case has led me to neglect my patients and my wife more than I care to admit. I've been able to sort things out over the last few days, and now I am ready to pursue this investigation.
You don't have to justify yourself, Watson. Whilst I do tolerate you as an observer, and despite your occasional help with more menial tasks, may I remind you that you are by no means an indispensable part of this case.
Oh, you tolerate me as an observer, do you? Oh, you're too much, Holmes. Well, Mr. Detective, despite my absence, I have been working on this case, putting my relationship on the line in the process. And I happen to have a confidential letter that only passed from one lord's hand to another. What it contains is extremely serious and concerns Dr. Tumblety and his collection of uteri.
Let me see that.
My lord, be hereby assured of my entire collaboration in the affair, to which I must reply no one will be able to cast opprobrium on our institution or ourselves. Our eminent colleagues support our policies and they won't cooperate with the police as long as the hires serve aren't menaced. As you mentioned, we must avoid having to explain to the uncultured masses the I'm good at English, but Jesus Christ. Like, English is my best subject, actually. I love reading, but fucking hell. Of medical research. A general crisis of confidence will result in an inevitable amalgamation that the press would hasten to create between this world and the hideous murders committed in the East End. To this end, I tactfully evoked the rumor that you mentioned in your letter when I met with my colleagues. It turns out to have grounds, and these are the specifics that I was to obtain. 18 months since, an American doctor in London did, in fact, contact certain hospitals. His approach was aimed at getting stocks of feminine genitalia, particularly uteri. He was motivated initially by the finalization of his research and of its publication. The doctor in question wanted to include a uterus specimen freshly conserved in formalin with each of the research dissertations sent to each of the colleagues involved. A large quantity was thus necessary, and this doctor proposed to buy each of the uteri for £20 each. The hospital directors did not pay heed to these demands. Of that I've been assured. I think, I don't think it's Tumblety. I not anymore. I think Tumblety's fucking wacky, but I don't think it's him. Between you and I, my lord, who knows what strange consequences would follow the menace of this American doctor? The rumor of these unusual commissions made the tour of the hospitals in question at the time, uh, and has spread to others since. Some day laborers employed in our organizations considered the gain of £20 could justify a theft, perhaps worse. The identity of the doctor is unknown to me, but based on the recall of one of my colleagues, this man has the most impressive references. But after a bit of research that I did, I didn't find this existence of any publication with an eventual correlation on this or the other side of the Atlantic. The man left London shortly after his pitch, it would seem. I cannot help but think he has perhaps returned to London and found someone who might furnish him with what he's looking for.
Excellent. This American could turn out to be of great use to use.
That's right. And that's not all. I did some research and finally found an illness that affects the genitalia and can, in certain cases, cause facial symptoms resembling the mutilations seen on the last victim. It is called, would you believe?
Syphilis and the emaciation that can be seen in affected children. I have known that for days, Watson.
Really?
Listen, now you're already here, Watson, we may as well continue the investigation. Do you remember the map on which we established the area in which our killer lives? I think we should continue our study. Well, I discovered the case of another murder before that of Bucks Row. It happened in George Yard. We shall put it on the map in order to see if it corresponds to our area of research. We must place the murder of Martha Tabram in George Yard on the map.
It does indeed corroborate.
That is where Martha Tabram's murder took place. There's no point going there. I already have all the information we need on that matter. You see, this murder took place in the area in which our killer lives, his safe zone. Nonetheless, there are two major differences between the murder of this Martha Tabram and that of Polly Nichols. Firstly, the blows inflicted are not the same.
And the second difference?
It follows on from a doctor's opinion. He claims two weapons might have been used, and if there is one group of people we absolutely must not trust in this business, it's doctors. Don't you agree, Watson?
Watch it, Holmes.
Tabram's murder took place in an area where the murderer, whose cowardice is clear, was able to make a quick getaway, that is to say, near his home. For his second murder, he would have wanted to go further afield, so the police would not link these two cases. And as for the other murders, seeing the ineffectiveness of his last one, he headed in different directions to kill his victims while still staying in the vicinity and without going any further than necessary, and all the while planning his escape. My dear Watson, we now know what this man looks like, in what area he lives, and that he suffered directly or indirectly from syphilis. Let's not forget the anatomical knowledge he must almost certainly possess. Given his lower-class background, a butcher seems very likely. However, it may be the case that the man was a butcher once, but is no longer. He might also have been a medical assistant. Who knows? That's why we need the testimonies of the other Joseph and Dr. Tumblety in order to be certain.
What shall we do, Holmes?
As the police's cooperation is futile and can be ruled out, we have nothing to do but wait. Watson, wait, and hope we see one of these two men before the killer strikes again.
At last, a long day's work done. How are you doing, Holmes?
Fine, Watson, just fine.
I suppose you still haven't heard any news from Whitechapel.
No, Watson.
It's been almost a month now. Who knows? Our killer may have brought justice upon himself, overcome by remorse and ignominy for his actions.
Not a chance, Watson.
You haven't done anything about the story of a kidney that was sent in the post and reported by the papers. Why not?
The killer left a message on one occasion with the intention of harming. The letter accompanying this package served no purpose other than to give value to its recipient and arouse disgust against its sender. The killer has never done anything for nothing. In order to authenticate the Galston Street message, he left an indisputable piece of evidence. Can we really say as much about this kidney?
I don't know. All I know is that there are letters piling up on your desk. Isn't it time to move on to another case?
Absolutely not, Watson. I think that the other Joseph is reluctant to meet me. The man he saw must certainly have put the fear of God in him, a man well known for his violence and his hatred towards Jews. There can't be any shortage of those in Whitechapel. I have hope yet. As for Dr. Tumblety...
We found him, Mr. Holmes. We found him.
Who's that?
Dr. Bumblebee. He's been locked up by the bobbies, but they've let him loose. Oi, he was looking round like a rat who's scared of his own shadow. He's gonna do a run at years.
Watson, this is our chance. The game is afoot. Let's hope that Tumblety will go to collect his trunk. As for you, my little friends, thank you for lifting this burden that has been on my shoulders for almost a month.
Okay, so we've got to go to Finley's boarding house. Oh.
He is here. The doctor is here, up in his room. Peeking through my door, I saw him go up the stairs, and I think that he has a pistol.
Regarding the trunk, did you do what I told you to?
Yes, I jammed the lock and filled the trunk with stones. Should we call the police?
Absolutely not. Go home, lock your doors, and if you hear a gunshot, shout as loudly as you can. Watson, we must disarm this man at all costs before attempting to confront him. Come, have your pistol at the ready and stay alert.
Don't move a muscle or I shoot.
Who? But what is going on?
Bravo, Watson. I take back everything I ever said about your less than full involvement in our investigations.
Listen, Mr. Policeman. I already told everything to your colleagues at the station, so...
Don't you believe it, sir. We're not with the police. We are here to talk about human organs, an area in which you seem to have a great deal of interest.
What? But who are you?
We are the ones holding the pistol. Listen, Tumblety, tell us everything you know and you will be spared from the noose or a bullet. Have you tried to get hold of any female genitalia from someone during these past months?
So that's it. You English. Listen, as it happens, I do have a collection of female genital organs which I hold dear and never miss the chance to show my friends whatever the occasion. If you knew what I feel when my eyes meet the young men's as they contemplate with astonishment and disgust this soft and flabby skin that they worship and place at the center of all their passions. Women repulse me, gentlemen. They are one of nature's greatest mistakes. Lying, haughty, and most of all, nauseating. No, sirs. Men, mankind, we are not made to soil ourselves with such animals, and it is my task to educate my peers, like the ancient Greeks used to do, and put them on the path to masculine relationships, the only kind worthy of our intelligence.
My God, this man has lost his marbles, Holmes.
You haven't answered my question. Did you attempt to obtain any female organs?
Indeed, but a long time ago. I was living in Liverpool at the time. A few of my specimens were starting to lose their freshness. But despite the sum proposed, the heads of the university hospitals refused to accede to my demands. The fear of what others would say, certainly. I know nothing more similar to an arrogant fowl than an English doctor. Yakety yak, always showing off in the courtyard with their haughty airs. And as soon as...
Shut it, Tumblety. So, was it you who killed all of these women? Yes or no?
I regret to say that it was not. If I had really wanted a few more uteri, I would have had them brought in from the United States, where it would cost me much less than here. Or I would have shown a few gold coins in the hallways of a morgue or a hospital in London, and they would have kissed my feet to sell them to me, and not taken the least risk. But kidneys are all the latest, aren't they? I think that I could find one tomorrow for less than £1. In short, gentlemen, I do not know your killer, and I don't know why he's doing that. But if you come across him one day, please send him my friendship and my deepest respect.
You've gone too far this time.
Come, Watson, let's not get carried away now.
Thought Watson
Thank
was
you
about
for
to
your
fucking
assistance,
shoot him.
Doctor. If I may offer some advice, you should leave England as soon as possible. Each day that you remain in this country is a risk that an intelligent man would not take.
My pistol?
Without that, it will be even more risky.
Can we believe this man, Holmes?
He can't be the murderer, and his story regarding the organs fits. But we can't afford to take the slightest risk. I will ask the Baker Street irregulars to follow him. Listen, lads, when Tumblety leaves here, follow him discreetly and come and tell me as early as possible tomorrow where he is currently residing. Understood?
Understood, Captain.
You are already ready, Holmes. What is going on?
I have been waiting for you for at least an hour, Watson. It would appear that a new drama has unfolded. The youngsters came to give me this address, but I have some doubt as to the actual location we are going to. Let's try anyway. At worst, we may come across the Baker Street irregulars to put us in the right direction.
We are lost, Holmes.
No, we're not, Watson. We are heading for the very street I'd hoped for, but as I wasn't sure it was this one, I've made a few big detours in order to find the right one. I'll know it when I see the name.
Why, of course, Holmes. Why didn't I think of that? The great Sherlock Holmes can't...
Okay, so we gotta find the street name.
How are you, my friend? Are you not feeling well?
No,
My friend is a doctor. He can take care of you.
don't go there. He came here and he...
Now, Watson, take care of him. I have no reason to go that way.
What? Ah. Oh, shit.
My God!
What happened?
Can't talk. Wait for the coppers. Are they coming? My eyes are crying.
No.
Go find them too, mister. I'll stay here and keep an eye out. Go!
No, I must await my friend. Ah, here he is.
Watson, are you there? How are you?
Fine, Holmes, and you? What happened?
Hello, sir. Where are we, Watson?
In Whitechapel, Holmes. This must be Dorset Street. You don't seem very well. Do you need something?
Indeed, Watson. Some clay, a great big piece of clay. I would ask for some wine, too, but as you know, I taste nothing but melodrama.
What is over there?
A trip from which you will never return, Watson. Trust me, don't go there.
A trip? Behind this door? In this room?
It's not strictly a door, it's more of a portal, a threshold, and what lies behind it is not the mortal realm, Watson. It is a place beyond time and space, the gift of a frantic artist who made use of his talent in order to grant us access to his world, Watson. Beyond that threshold is an abyss. Hell. The police won't take long to arrive, and the last thing I want is to waste precious time on them. Could you lead me out of this area and take me home?
You should come and eat, Holmes. Mrs. Hudson has worked wonders. The joint has been cooked medium rare. If only you would tell me what was in the courtyard.
The answer, Watson.
The answer, Holmes?
Yes, the answer to a question that you asked me a few weeks ago.
How the devil can the answer to a question I asked you be found in that courtyard? And what question are you referring to, Holmes?
How our killer set about reaching the height of horror by taking another victim, Watson. Did I not tell you that I wanted to avoid melodrama?
Do you mean to say that...
Yes, that's what was in that room. You helped towards the colour. All that's missing is the odour, but I shall let that pass. The mutilations almost all resulted in large removals of flesh. My photographic memory noted them all in great detail, the shape, size and location, and thanks to the softness of this clay and your medical knowledge, I believe we can attempt to determine what is missing from this lady.
Don't you think we should wait for the medical examiner's opinion?
Surely not, Watson. This massacre has gone on long enough. I can assure you that I will do everything in my power to get our hands on Jack the Ripper before this night is out.
Alrighty.
Watson, we shall reconstruct the body of this poor woman and inspect it in detail as well.
Alright.
Your help as a medical man will be invaluable.
Holmes, I feel a bit unwell.
Well, I understand. I will manage on my own. Her throat was slit just like the others. The wound is particularly deep. There were incisions in the rib cage, as if to inspect the lungs.
What is this?
The liver was neatly removed. The liver was neatly removed. The liver was neatly removed.
Where do livers go? Oh, there we go. Spleen.
An organ is missing, apparently. I must specify which organ this is on my list.
It's the heart.
There we are, Watson. We have examined everything. The heart is the only thing missing. 2 uteri, a kidney, and now a heart. He had all the time he wanted in which to disfigure her, cut her up like a piece of meat, and yet took nothing but the heart. What do you think of that, Watson? Watson?
Watson's fucking done, dude. I'm almost done, bro.
What?
I dread to think how you'd react if you saw a corpse. I'm returning to Whitechapel, Watson, to Isaac's. If the heart tells you to come with me, if the heart tells you a little wordplay there. Let's go to the
Holmes.
cobblers.
Fucking. Holy she's fucking. He's fucking going insane, dude.
Let's go to the cobblers.
What I really like about Carrie Shell's Holmes is that he's an actual fucking character, unlike, you know, the superhero that Benedict Cumberbatch is.
Beep, beep.
I also quite like
Evening, Mr. Holmes.
Robert Downey Jr.'s Holmes.
Good evening, Hardyman. Has Abraham Solomonovich still not reopened his shop?
No, not that I know of.
Have you heard anything about the latest murder?
Certainly there is talk of nothing else. Poor girl. I hope they catch the bastard who did it.
Who do you think that could be?
A madman, that's for sure. Everyone in the area is pinning it on a Jew. But I don't believe that for a second.
Why?
Because Jews don't like blood, you see. They're not allowed to eat it, and they have to drain the meat before cooking it. It's true that they eat animals, but they are fanatical about all kinds of silly things. I don't know much about their rituals and all, but I know that a Jewish butcher can't just do whatever he pleases with his knife. He has strict kosher rules to follow.
You seem to be very well informed.
Well, I buy my meat from them too. My clients don't care whether the meat comes from Jews or not. Cats eat it regardless. And let me tell you, I'd go as far as to say that I may even have more faith in a Jew, because even if they don't eat all the offals, a Jew inspects them to see if the animal was in good health. Lungs, for the most part, and as they make up most of my cat's meat, you can see the connection, right?
Jews are allowed to eat offals?
Oh, yes. They eat calves' kidneys, I think.
How big is that? A calf's kidney?
Ah, well, that depends if it's fresh or if it's been marinated in brine or cooked.
When fresh, are they as big as a human kidney?
They would be, yes.
You know, Mr. Hardyman, it's lucky for both of us that the murder that took place in your mother's courtyard was only the Whitechapel killer's third. Had it been the first, I wouldn't be thanking you, as I'm doing now, for all of this important information. Goodbye and take care.
If you say so. Right, farewell, Mr. Holmes.
Let's go to the cobbler's.
Okay. Isaac.
Good evening, Mr. Solomonovich.
Evening, Mr. Holmes. If you've come about the business of my cousin, I hate to say...
Before you respond to my request, I must ask you to answer this question of the utmost importance. What offals are Jews allowed to eat?
Well, the same as you.
Kidney, heart, liver?
Yes.
How are they prepared?
Kidneys are boiled, heart is often finely sliced and cooked on a skewer, and liver is always grilled.
These offals, do they come from cattle?
Yes, beef or veal.
And eating non-kosher food would be a grave affair for a Jew, isn't that right?
Yes, it would be very serious. But what are you getting at?
If I were to tell you what I'm thinking, Mr. Solomonovich, you would pull out your own eardrums to not hear the end of my sentence. It goes against the beliefs of hundreds of members of your community, and for some, perhaps even worse. I will ask you one last time before involving the authorities, who I assure you will be far less discreet than myself. Do you know who the second Joseph is, the Aldgate butcher, who your cousin knows from the Imperial Club?
His name is Joseph Hyam Levy, but I don't know where he lives. I know nothing about him, other than he's a member of the Imperial Club on Duke Street.
That street is after Church Passage, coming from Mitre Square, am I right?
That's it.
Thank you. You have been an enormous help to both of us. Now, listen carefully. I need you to find 4 or 5 strong men among the members of your family who you trust wholeheartedly, and to wait here with them until my arrival, or you receive a message from me. Is that clear?
But if you will tell me...
Later, Mr. Solomonovich, later. Let's go to the Imperial Club.
Where's the Imperial Club? There it is.
Ah, there's the Imperial Club. Let's see if I can find Joseph Hyam Levy. Hello, sir.
Hello, can I help you, sir?
Indeed, I have an urgent message for Mr. Joseph Levy, the Aldgate butcher.
I regret, sir, but Mr. Levy is not at the club at present. You can wait for him if you wish.
I thank you. Do you know where I can find him? His home address, perhaps? It is a very urgent matter.
I am sorry, sir, but we do not give out information regarding the club members to people outside the group.
I understand. I must find a way to enter the Imperial Club without having to go through the entrance hall. A note encouraging members of the Jewish community to remain prudent and vigilant after rumours about the Whitechapel murders.
The Whitechapel murders weigh on our community heavily. Consequently, an exemplary conduct must be shown now more than ever, as well as increased vigilance. Jewish establishments such as synagogues, shops, and clubs are likely to become targets. All incidents must be stifled as much as possible. 9 p.m. informational meeting. Naturalism. How to become a citizen of Her Majesty. The process and its implications. Club members' actions. 10 p.m. open evening with musical accompaniment. Classical and traditional pieces. Mr. Blum. Piano. Mr. Schatz. Violin. Administration will be closed all day.
This may come in handy. The Imperial Club.
I still wanna... Okay.
I have no reason to go that way. Cole, it's a service door and firmly locked. There must be a stockroom in the cellar beneath this room. There is a cellar window behind this barrel, which is preventing me from passing. If I can just get into the coal cellar, I shall be in the place. This barrel is on a wooden pallet, but it is too heavy to be moved. I will need a pivot.
Alright.
Closed. This building is the Great Synagogue of London.
Nice, Mitre Square. Really? Can't pick that up? Okay. Sure. There must be
I
something.
have no reason to go that way.
Apparently I don't have a reason to go that way.
I have no reason to go that way.
Of course not. Oh.
There we are. My pivot is in place. Now, let's find something to tip over this barrel.
Can I not use my hands?
I will need a pivot. I will need a pivot.
Something
I will need a pivot.
to tip over the barrel. There we go.
I should be able to make it tip over. Let's go. Good. Let's try to find the exit that leads to the club.
Yep. I thought I would need to use the coat hanger on that.
I have no reason to go that way. This may come in handy. Empty tin cans. Closed. Closed.
Oh.
No, that's not a good idea. The watchman is still there. I must find a way to get him to leave his post. The kitchen, it's closed, and besides, I won't find what I'm looking for in there. Let's hope that it really is the key to this door. Administration, perfect. This must be where the information on club members is kept. No, that's not such a good idea. There's a meeting taking place. This must be the club's safe. What I'm looking for is probably inside. I need something.
Alright. What the fuck are these?
Some square metal tokens. Curious. There is a document.
Sir, I wanted to let you know that if your club needed kosher meat when you have any special functions, I would be available to furnish it for you, guaranteed by a compliant abattoir. It will be delivered directly to your society at a time that is convenient. Reasonable prices. Do not hesitate to call upon my services. Jacob Levy. Refused on the advice of Joseph Chaim Levy.
There must have been litigation between Joseph Chaim Levy and Jacob Levy. A page from an old Yiddish English dictionary. Court's proceedings. Curious. I need something.
Does
This
work?
must be the club's safe. What I'm looking for is probably inside. The lock on this chest is very sophisticated. Let's see.
As are all fucking locks in this game, I guess.
No, that's not it.
Let's put that down there. What? Maybe you gotta match it. Like that. Yeah. So that would. Oh no, that wouldn't go there. And I can't rotate them. Okay, cool.
Elementary.
Cool.
I need something. These documents contain some words in Yiddish, which reads from right to left.
Um. Okay. So I need to see them. Okay, so this here is M. Oh, okay. M. Um, this should be U. This here should be R. Then this should be E. Okay. E. And where's L? This is L. Okay, so I got Ulmer here. Um, okay, so that's, well, that has to be that. That's there.
Excellent. Now, on to the next step.
Levi Joseph. Born in Aldgate, 1841. Membership, April 14th, 1887. Address, 36 Middlesex Street, Aldgate. Profession, self-employed butcher at 1.
Here we are. I have the address of this Joseph Chaim Levy, 36 Middlesex Street. Now, let's try to get out of here without being seen. This may come in handy. I need something.
Great.
I need something.
Oh,
I need something.
what's this? Well, there's more here than there was before.
Blast! My exit has been sealed off. The barrel was replaced. I'll have to find another way. Blast! My exit has... I need something. I need something. I need something. I need something. No, that's not a good idea. The
watch.
kitchen, it's closed and... I need something.
Not light the candle in any way? No. Oh. Okay. I see.
Now let's quickly hide in administration.
Fucking smooth criminal. Holy shit.
Let's visit Joseph Levy at 36 Middlesex Street. Here I am in Middlesex Street. Let's find number 36.
There he is.
Hello, sir. What do you want?
Hello, Ma'am. I would like to speak with Mr. Levy. Do you know if he's in?
I am Mrs. Levy, his wife. He's not arrived yet.
Do you know when he'll be in?
No idea. You know, he works at the butcher's and helps at the slaughterhouse. It often happens that he doesn't come in until early morning and then leaves right away.
Well, listen, as soon as your husband Joseph returns, tell him that
My husband isn't called Joseph.
you aren't the wife of Joseph Hyam Levy.
No, of course not. I'm the wife of Jacob Levy. Mr. Hyam Levy used to live here with his parents, but he moved.
Mommy, who's the man that you are talking to?
Is that fucking Wiggins?
This poor child has syphilis. He carries the mark on his face.
Leave us, children. Go back inside with your brothers and sisters.
Yes, Mother.
As I was saying, Mr. Hyam Levy doesn't live here. He works in a butcher's near Aldgate, but I don't know exactly where. But if you find him, he will surely live next door. Butchers always live near their work.
Could you possibly give him a message on my behalf?
I don't see him often, and, well, even though we know him, we aren't on friendly terms, you see?
Is he bothering you, Mommy?
No, Simon, not at all.
That's a handsome boy you have. It's strange that he has light hair.
He takes after his father. Strong, with light hair.
Wait, he sounds familiar to me. A man of about 50 years old, very big, at least 6 feet tall, and left-handed, correct?
You are mistaken yet again. My husband is only 32 years old, no taller than 5'3", and he's right-handed.
Obviously, there are many Levys in the area. I will leave you, and I pray that you will excuse the disturbance. Perhaps we will have the pleasure of meeting again. Farewell, Ma'am.
Goodbye, sir.
Ah, shit.
Daddy!
Oh, shit.
I must return to Baker Street.
Oh,
Let's go to Baker
shit.
Street.
Can you stop fucking singing? Hey, you, what's your deal?
Pardon me, but can you give me some information?
You coming, dearie?
I got her to shut up at least.
Well, Watson, not looking so good.
Whose fault is that, Holmes? If you hadn't shown me your masterpiece in clay.
Some actions have much larger repercussions than would be assumed at first glance. Listen, Watson, in a few minutes I will leave Baker Street in order to meet Jack the Ripper and put an end to his crimes. Beforehand, I want to go over all our discoveries to assure myself that everything is clear.
Jack the Ripper? You know the identity of Jack the Ripper?
Without a shadow of a doubt, Watson, and I assure you that we are in possession of all the elements required to determine who Jack the Ripper is. Would you like to do this work with me? Well, we are still missing certain information in order to finish this investigation, Watson.
Okay. Whitechapel killer had the time to kill Strident Eddowes, and Kelly had her throat slit in the same way as the other victim. The same butcher's knife was used in the murders. Kelly's murderer has a knowledge of anatomy. They are or were a butcher. Oh, okay. Jack the Ripper offered a gift to each of his victims. He diverted their attention, I'd say. No. There we go. Proceeded in the same way. Is the same man. Same man who killed them all. No, 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 no. So he killed everyone. All of them. Every person. Nothing empty there. Okay. Lungs were subject to incision. Kelly's heart was removed the same day as the other murders. Kelly's organs were detached. There is no organ trafficking in London. Okay, he wanted to verify the health of them, I guess. Because his heart was moved the same way as the other murders. A. Chapman's uterus was removed and taken. Eddowes' kidney was and uterus were removed. There we are. Annie Chapman's rings were worthless. The wounds on Catherine Eddowes' neck reveal that the murderer is right-handed. So he's a right-handed man. He was looking for stuff of value. He's poor. Whitechapel killer left a message accusing the Jews in Goldston Street. Syphilis deforms the patient's face. Eddowes' piece of apron was found on Goldston Street near the message accusing the Jews. He has a score to settle with the Jewish community. Kelly was disfigured. Victims, the appearance of syphilis.
Perfect, Watson.
There we go.
Let's determine who Jack the Ripper is, Watson.
Where's... There we are.
Thus, we have 5 suspects. Let's add the elements that correspond to each of them.
So they're all right-handed. Jack the Ripper lives in Applegate. Jacob Levy. Jack the Ripper lives... or Aldgate. Murder is 5'3". Who here is 5'3"? Well, you are for sure, because you're the fucking murderer. That's right. Light hair. Yeah, no. Light colored hair. Yeah, Jack the Ripper's right-handed. Jack the Ripper's confronted with syphilis, so it's him. It's him. You. or you, or... Oh, he wasn't... Oh, no, he wasn't. The Whitechapel killer is poor. He's poor. He's poor. Is every one of these people poor? No, no, no. Murderer has workman's clothes. Oh. I guess Abraham's fit isn't a workman's clothes. Does he live in Aldgate? No. Jack the Ripper possesses great physical force. Oh, I thought. Jack the Ripper has a score to settle with the Jewish community. No. Who the fuck even is Sicard again? I actually forgot. Is or was a butcher. It's him.
And there you go, Watson. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper.
Fantastic, Holmes. And terrifying. But some aspects of this case are still unclear, at least for me.
For example, Watson?
Why does the man only kill prostitutes?
The man kills prostitutes because he blames them for the misery of his life. He must have frequented them assiduously, and during these nocturnal visits, he contracted syphilis, which he passed on to his spouse, and via her, at least one of his children. He is an angry man in despair following a mistake that cannot be fixed.
Why does he only kill such miserable prostitutes?
He never had the means to afford prostitutes of higher standing than Nichols, Chapman and the others. At one point in his life he was forced to steal to make ends meet. This indiscretion cost him dearly. He was imprisoned and exiled from his community. He had frequented low-class prostitutes, thus it was they who infected him and they who must pay.
But why did he remove the organs?
To take vengeance on his own community, which rejected him and had more success than he. He is a man who bore the burden of a sinister reputation, that of a thief and a madman, because of his internment. So he took his vengeance in the most cowardly and horrific manner imaginable. He rubbed his knife on the uterus of a sick prostitute before using it. He passed Edow's kidney off as a veal kidney.
Why did he disfigure the faces of the last two victims?
Revenge yet again, Watson. This is what you did to my child. You will suffer the same fate.
And the piece of apron and the message at Goulston Street?
The only reason to have placed the piece of apron incriminating the message and attracting attention towards himself is that the people that Levy holds responsible for his arrest live in this building. The butcher's where he committed the theft is found in Goulston Street, and the majority of the butchers who denounced him surely live close to their workplaces.
But finally, Holmes, why didn't his wife or anyone else notice anything?
His wife has many children and must be very busy. The man is a butcher, which must facilitate things when one is questioned by the police in the street and must justify the bloodstains on oneself. Furthermore, butchers often work during the night as the meat must be sold fresh each morning. His nocturnal absences were easily justifiable. Finally, he works in the butchers or slaughterhouses. Nothing could be more simple than slipping a kidney in here and using a knife oiled with human blood there.
This story is frightful, Holmes.
Indeed, Watson. Lies, infidelity, venereal disease, murder, mutilation, and finally cannibalism. A complete anthology of what humans at their most vile are capable.
Let's go at once to Whitechapel and put this madman where he can do no more harm, Holmes.
Let's, Watson. I have nothing to ask.
Fuck.
I do believe we are not alone. I hope these men won't prevent us from passing.
Me? No. But you, yes, Watson. Your journey ends here tonight.
Pardon?
You're sometimes a little hot-headed. Moreover, Mr. Solomonovich has a few things to tell you. I won't be long.
You can come in, Mr. Holmes. He's waiting for you inside. Everything was organized according to your instructions. I don't know how to thank you.
Later. Dr. Watson is awaiting an explanation from you.
What? I don't think we're supposed to hear anything here, but that's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't think we were supposed to hear anything. I think that was part of the cutscene. No, okay, so I'm gonna take this silence as a moment to say I really don't appreciate that it ended up being someone who was introduced in the last like half an hour of the game, because that really takes away from a mystery. That's one of the tropes that detective fiction is criticized for. Less talented writers will just introduce a random character in the third act, and like near the end, and have that be the person with like no clues beforehand having like really pointed to that character. So I don't know how I feel about that. It could have been executed better.
Hello, Watson.
Holmes, have you the slightest idea what you are doing?
I think so, Watson.
Leaving this bloodthirsty pervert at liberty and hiding his existence from the London police? What folly!
Certainly, the police will never find their man, but with so many men deployed, this affair will indirectly have a benevolent effect on the crime in the vicinity.
But Holmes, wait! Justice hasn't been served, and we are accomplices to the fact.
Justice? But I don't serve justice, Watson. I serve truth. And, incidentally, I serve my country, and I don't think that I have ever served it better than today. Imagine if after months of terror and a murder as abominable as that of Miller's Court, we deliver to the English people a man of the Jewish faith, a journeyman and head of family as the guilty party. A man who forced members of his own people to eat human flesh. All of this contained tension would have exploded in a myriad of anti-Semitic acts which would have thrown Whitechapel into a rage of fire and blood. And this man's family, who are completely innocent and have suffered more than their lot, would have been the first in the line of sight. Should we condemn an entire people to shame and promise them 1,000 wounds because one of their members committed an unmentionable crime? Neither I nor you have the right to do so. Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, is now in the hands of his own people. I have complete faith in Mr. Solomovich and the members of his community who, I remind you, courageously helped us. They took great risks and acted with the most salutary discretion. And, oh yes, it is understood that you cannot chronicle this investigation. It would be best to invent a story that takes us far from London during the somber period, in pursuit of, let's see, something challenging. A ghostly dog that glows in the night.
Don't be ridiculous, Holmes. But what will happen now? The police will endure a serious setback and a real loss of credibility. And this man?
Well, a few months after the murders have ceased, the police commission, finding themselves at an impasse, will come up with a story to tell, and everyone will vow that they know the secret identity of the killer without having the right to reveal it. As for Jacob Levy, Jack the Ripper, he will be imprisoned by his own people. He will pace like a lion in its cage until the end of his days, haunted by his crimes and his insatiable vengeance, until finally the disease which drove him to kill those poor women will finish its work and make him its final victim.
I really don't know how I feel about that ending. The game was really good up until that last, like, I want to say 15 minutes probably. But, pretty soon we're going to move on to the Testament of Sherlock Holmes, which is the next game in the series, and I hope you guys will join me for that. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you then. Goodbye.